You'll only understand this feeling if you've gone through it yourself. But there's no worse feeling as a kid than being in a classroom and just feeling utterly stupid because you can't keep up. It would especially hurt when my friends would say things like, "Huh? But this is so easy. I don't understand why you're finding it so hard." But I have overcome this. This year alone, I had to balance my 2 internships, YouTube, hobbies, my social life, and my studies. And I've had a lot less time to study, but I still managed to score 19/20 for my biochemistry mid-semester test, and my final grade for my internship was just released. And the only reason I was able to do so is by studying and learning faster. But learning faster isn't what you think it is. Learning faster means we need to do these 5 things faster. Understand, revise, read, memorize, and write faster, and they're all linked together. And I can guarantee that you've not heard many of these tips before because it came from my own experiences. Thank you Grammarly for sponsoring this video, and let's go. First, how to understand faster. If you're the type of person who spends hours studying but just can't click with the material, this is your solution. Look at my notes here. You can see that the top of each page has 1 or 2 lines in italics. This is my secret to understanding faster that no one talks about. Understand this. Learning is like building a puzzle where each piece is a concept and you need to put those pieces together to form the full picture. If you don't connect them, you're left with random scattered pieces that make no sense. So the reason why you're struggling is because all the information that you're learning is isolated. It's just floating around in your head without a purpose or place to fit. You can stare at those concepts for hours in your textbook and still not understand anything because you haven't linked the pieces together. You can't see the bigger picture. And the most annoying part is that our brains love to forget what it feels is unimportant. So if anything new is disconnected or meaningless, we just forget it. So the fastest way to understand something is by linking new concepts together as you're learning it. And here's how. By using linking text in your notes. On top of each new page, I want you to write how this page's content is related to the previous one. This is not hard to do, but there is a shortcut that I prefer using because it just takes seconds. So if you already have a Grammarly account, download their extension on Google Chrome. Then highlight the section of notes that you're at. Click on the symbol here, then ask it to create a TLDR for you. It'll generate a summary of your page in bullet points, but if you prefer your linking text to be a single short sentence like I do, you can just ask it to do that too. Feel free to screenshot this prompt so that you can use it too. No worries, this is a completely free feature, so I'll leave the link to create a Grammarly account in the description box below. Also important, if you're starting a new topic or lecture, it's really good if you can write down how the previous topic is related to this one. For example, in the previous lecture, we discussed these things about influenza, and here's what we're talking about today. It sounds simple, you're just basically summarizing each page or each chapter, but you have no idea how much this helps until you start doing it. I unintentionally started doing this about 2 years ago when I realized I would always ask myself things like, wait, why is this concept important again? Or what's this topic about? Your ultimate goal is that when you revise, you can just write out the title of the topic, then effortlessly recall everything step by step from memory. This is what I show, bestie, in my study vlogs. You're always asking me what I write on my whiteboard, and this is it. I'm just recalling everything from just the title of the topic. Now, this topic no longer looks like separate things that I have to work really hard to remember, but just a story that I know the beginning, middle, and end to. Subscribe and like this video if you're enjoying it so far. Next, how to revise faster. AKA how I figured out how to make my own exam papers and questions because my teachers and lecturers refused to give me any. You and I know that we can spend hours studying something, but if we don't do practice questions or try to apply our knowledge, we just won't remember it and we won't do well in the exam. So here's my secret: generate your own exam questions. I like to have my regular notes in a Google document, then a separate document for all my revision questions separated by topics. I do this for all my subjects, and you can see that I highlighted the questions that I want to revise in yellow and then make those that I got wrong in red. Your questions should cover everything that's important in the topic, and the only way to know what's important is by referring to your learning objectives. You can find this at the beginning of your textbook or the beginning of your lecture slides. As you study, the slow way to generate questions is just by writing them down as you think of them while you're studying your topic. Here is an example of a question sheet that I made just thinking of questions on the fly, and I'll test myself with them after I've studied the topic. But then again, the quickest and easiest way to generate your own questions is just using the Grammarly extension. I mean, we've already downloaded it and it's free. I highlight the topic I want to test myself on, then ask it to give me questions on it. I'll paste the questions that it generates into a separate document, and there you go. Again, feel free to screenshot the prompts so that you can copy them. Try to answer these questions before every study session. This just helps reinforce what you've studied so far so that you don't spend 2 weeks studying only to forget what you learned at the start. Next, how to read faster. Okay, besties, so we've covered how to understand faster and how to reinforce what we've learned so far. But what about our massive amounts of readings, right? All those pesky textbooks. How do we read faster? So I'm an intern at a top medical research center called WeHi, and I've actually vlogged a few of my days there on the shorts if you're interested in seeing them. But as an intern bestie, I had to write 3,000-word research essays on the experiments that I was doing, and if you're a science student, you know how painstaking it is to read those research papers. There are 2 parts to reading faster. First, you need to know how to find the right articles, and second, how to skim the readings really quickly. So first, here's how you find the relevant readings fast. When you search on Google, use something called Google search operators. It sounds really fancy, but basically, when you're typing out something you want to search, you can use different symbols to narrow down your results. Here's a few. Use quotations to make sure that all the results include this keyword. Use the word "or" to get results relating to X or Y, and you can also use the minus symbol for keywords that you want to be excluded from your results. Then here's how to skim fast. So you highlight your text, then paste your 100-page reading into Grammarly, then ask it to summarize it. If your text is not online, you can always just scan it on your phone, then paste it into Grammarly and do the same thing. Can you see how many articles I've summarized using this method? Even better, you can ask it questions like, does it talk about topic X, or what does it say about topic Y? This just gives you an overview of what's important so you can decide if the summary is enough or if you want to dive deeper into the full text. I also want to say, please don't shy away from using AI. I'm not asking you to use it to cheat or anything, but knowing how to use it to your advantage will really help you save time and energy as a student. If you have any questions about AI, just leave them in the comments. That's why I'm introducing to use so many tools in this video. Many of you know that you can use Grammarly to check your grammar, punctuation, and spelling, but you can also ask it to help you draft an important email. Next, how to memorize faster. Alright, so now we've read a lot of information, but if we read a lot without remembering it, there's no use. So let's go over how to memorize faster. Of course, the game-changing method of generating your own exam questions that I mentioned back in tip number 2 will also help you a lot with memorizing information. But I want to share one of my biggest secrets that has helped me memorize so much faster as someone who really isn't good with a lot of text. We need to make our notes more visual, and there is a right way to do this. Keep in mind that what I'm going to say next is a revision step, so when you're studying throughout the semester, feel free to have boring notes. I have them too. But when exam is coming and you need to revise, do this next step. Get a piece of paper or a whiteboard and ask yourself to repeat the same information with tables, mind maps, flowcharts, or annotated diagrams. Actually, let me just create a cute reminder for you. Feel free to print it out, cut it, and leave it close to you when you're revising. I'll leave the link to this in the description box below, and comment a Christmas tree if you're seeing this. I really appreciate it. If all of this is really confusing to you and you just want to keep it simple, or you don't have the time, all I'm asking you to do is make one mind map per topic. That's it. And in this mind map, make sure that there's a beginning and an end. Here's one of my mind maps. It starts on the left and flows to the right. And so I know that I've successfully revised a topic when I can just start on the left with the title and effortlessly recap everything to the right because there's a flow. And that's why the linking text back in tip number 1 is so important, because it helps you link all the concepts into a nice flow. I told you, bestie, in the intro that everything in this video is connected and important, and here is just an example of why. Next, how to write essays faster. How do you write essays and assignments quickly but get the top marks? I briefly mentioned this in my 3:30 a.m. study vlog that you can check out over here, but I'll give you all my secrets in this video. A little warning, I'm about to rapid fire a lot of tools that will really help you with essay writing, but no worries, I'll list all the tools at the end that you can screenshot. First, this is one of the biggest mistakes that students make, is that they don't look at the marking scheme. And when they do, they just look at how you get the top marks. But bestie, I'm telling you, look at why you would get the lowest marks. You'll actually learn more about how to get the top marks by learning what you need to avoid. Type your essay question into your document and ask Grammarly to draft you an outline. This will give you the foundation for your essay. You have to build on this as you progress. Then ask Grammarly to give you a research plan. This is your golden ticket. It'll tell you everything that you need to research on before you even start your essay. Arrange all of the suggestions nicely into a table, then make sure you go and research each prompt. And you'll find that it actually gives you a lot of points that you can include to get those critical thinking marks. Once you've written your essay, ask it to show gaps. It'll highlight all the weak parts in your essay that you need to elaborate more on, which will really help boost your marks. Then after writing your essay, there's the most annoying part, which is citations. If you already have the extension installed in Google Chrome, there is an auto citation tool. If you want to get marks for essay structure, you can just chuck your essay into Grammarly and then ask it to turn those long, messy sentences into clearer, more effective ones. And that's how you write a well-rounded, well-researched essay that gets you feedback like this. Feel free to screenshot all of this to make the whole process a little bit easier, bestie. Many of you told me that you're worried your university will flag you for plagiarism, but there's a checker for that too. Yes, Grammarly is worth it. I've been using it since high school. You can see all my writing here. But if you're a student, then I highly recommend that you invest into Grammarly Pro because you get a lot more AI prompts. The good news is you can get 20% off Grammarly Pro using my link at grammarly.com/fayefilms11. So now, here's my secret tip on how to study faster and overcome being a slow learner. This is a piece of advice that only someone who was a slow learner can tell you. Do not do things just because someone tells you to. So I don't go to class at all, unless the attendance is compulsory. If not, I'm never there. The thing is, nothing goes on in my brain the entire time I'm in class. It's been like that since I was young. I don't know why, but it's just how it is. As someone who struggled a lot with studying growing up, I found that forcing myself to use popular study techniques that worked for others was hindering my own progress because it just left me feeling useless. Let me know if you understand this feeling. But what I realized is that I studied the best alone when everyone else was going for tuition classes and telling me to go for tuition classes. If you're Asian, you know how big tuition classes are. But I knew what worked for me, so I didn't care. I started skipping school a lot. And even though my attendance was horrible, my grades were skyrocketing. Remember, bestie, if you watched countless study videos and tried so many study tips but none of them have worked for you, it doesn't mean that you can't study and all hope is lost. It just means you haven't found a routine or system that worked for you. You need to be patient with yourself, bestie. And I wish someone told me this when I was younger. If you've made it this far, comment down below which study tip completely changed the game for you. It's really hard to find other people who understand this feeling, and we're all gathered here in this video and comment section, so I think commenting what helped you would really help other people as well. It can change their life. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell and set it to all so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Thank you for 1.31 million subscribers, and I'll see you all in my next video, bestie. Bye!